live on YouTube now.
Okay. I can tap dance now.
Tap. Oh, Other Waffles is here. Hi, Other Waffles.
Didn't you hear me say that? Jeez.
I did, but it deserves an extra acknowledgement.
I see. Bangs, I don't think you're going to get any of the upcoming snow. I'm not sure if that's headed your way or not. But I know Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, they're all getting schwacked with about 8 inches of snow today. After, I think parts of Iowa got 7 inches yesterday.
It's pronounced Iowa. I think that's how it's pronounced. Iowa.
It's cornfields. Yeah, all rain. Same here. I'm all rain. As a matter of fact, tomorrow I have to return my borrowed pressure washer back to my boss.
Ah, nice. Get it sent back.
Oh, I didn't talk to you. I mean, it's not podcast related, but that attachment, that 15-inch disc attachment to clean the cement. Wow. Total wow. I was impressed. I must have one now.
You know, I wasn't going to admit it, but I will admit it. I think the power washer that I bought, which wasn't as good as that one, I think it might have come with it, and I might have thrown it out not knowing what it was for.
I don't know how expensive they are.
I need a new power washer anyways. All right, are you ready to hit record?
Maybe.
3, 2, 1, record.
I'm pleasantly surprised. It is recording.
Oh, apparently my card's full.
I'm not surprised. My card got full the other day. I mean, we talked about it. I'm now on card 31.
You're recording right now, right?
Yep.
That's fine. I'll get caught up. Just give me a second.
Yeah, see, this was card 30. I don't know if our audience can see it. Yes. Card 30. And card 31 is in the recorder right now.
I stopped doing that a long time ago because I was lazy.
Terms of service, utter filth. Oh, I'm almost afraid to ask, Bangs, but what's going on with the PlayStation 5 terms of service?
I want to know. Let me know.
I mean, we were talking about it at work. You know, this is a bunch of 50-year-old guys now in the office, and they're talking about playing Call of Duty and Squadrons on their various, Xbox and PlayStation, and all lamenting the fact that these 12-year-old kids are really taking us to town. But the question came around, so are you getting the new Xbox? Yep, pre-ordered it already. I'm like, okay.
That's funny.
And then somebody else said, yeah, I'm getting the new PS5. I'm like, okay. I haven't pre-ordered anything yet. So I'm like, all right. So they're like, SP, what are you getting? I'm like, well, eventually I'll get both. But if I haven't pre-ordered either, I don't think I'm going to see it in 2020. Oh, you cannot disparage China. Was this a Twitch thing before? I remember this in the gaming industry before, where nobody could disparage China. But it wasn't baked into PS5's terms of service. I know that. Or PS4, PlayStation, whatever it's called. What's it called? The PlayStation? Because like Xbox Unlimited, right?
Oh, PlayStation. I can't remember now. And wow, I got really congested really fast. PlayStation. I don't know.
Do they come and collect my console? I would like to see that, Waffles, but I wouldn't put it past them either. So don't tempt too much fate there.
All right, well, let's do this.
What are we doing again?
Some form of show.
All right. We can do form of show. Wonder Twin Powers activate.
Uh-oh.
Which actually tonight makes sense to me. Get it? Wonder Twin Powers activate. You get it?
No, I don't. Please explain.
The boxes.
I get it. I get it.
I'm Chris Farrell from the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast, a wacky weekend morning show, part of the Gonna Geek Network, just like the show you're checking out right now. Shows on the network are individually owned, and the opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other awesome geeky shows over at GonnaGeekNetwork.com. getnerdyggeek.com.
Welcome to an all-new Better Podcasting live chat. I am Stargate Pioneer's co-host, Steven Jonder, and with me, of course, is Stargate Pioneer.
It is a great week to be podcasting. I'm excited to be here. And as one of the podcasts that I listen to, they start off really excited every single week. And I've learned that it's like a 0 to 60. Like he'll be talking just normal, like we were kind of just talking normal in the pre-show. And then when it's time to go, he's just bang, 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 bang. It reminds me of my very first podcast that I was on. Did I ever tell you about that? Did your brother ever tell you about Chuck?
No.
When Chuck started a podcast, he'd be doing the same thing. So he'd be like, oh, okay, you're ready to go. You're ready to go. You know, he'd be like producer Chuck and everything like that, you know, focus and everything.
Yeah.
And then right when it was time to go on the mic, he'd be like, and welcome to another episode. And it was just, you know, really excited and everything.
I used to do that until people's comments hurt my feelings. And then I took it to heart and slowed down my pace. That was absolutely me, 100%.
We should talk about your feelings on this podcast sometime. We should use this as Steven therapy time.
We should. I've taken enough shots over the years about it. They know who I was talking about. But hey, we are here with Better Podcasting live chat. If you want to ask a little more about that, come to our Discord server at betterpodcasting.com/Discord. We'd love to have some conversation with you, with the rest of the people who are over there. We got lots of good talk happening in our Discord server, and most of what I'm referring to right now is podcast related, but there's a lot of non-podcast related stuff as well, if that's also your fancy. SP, you decided this week that you were going to make a change in your podcasting endeavors, didn't you?
I always make changes in my podcasting endeavors every single week. I decide to come and podcast with you every week. That's a change, by the way, because my default is I don't want to podcast with you, and then I make a change to podcast with you.
That's fair. No, I kid. You don't have anything big that you are changing, but you have been asking for some feedback about something that you have been looking to find out and see if you could change your workflow anyways because of it. And it's the Zoom PodTrack P4. I know that you ordered this a while ago and you were very excited to find out what it was like and try to figure out how it is. And so you've been asking everybody, what do they want to know about it, because you have it.
Exactly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the Zoom H8, and I'm going to unbox this. I'm going to put a video out on the Gonna Geek Gear YouTube channel. I'm going to ask the question there of what do you want to know about the Zoom PodTrack P4, and you guys get the bonus of learning this first here on Better Podcasting Live. Actually, it was last week during the Better Podcasting regular show, but we will be talking about that in the future. And for those audio listeners that don't come and watch the video, you may have not seen Steven slyly put his PodTrack P4 box on the shelf right behind him.
Whoa, you started talking about PodTrack P4s and it just showed up. That's crazy. That's crazy.
You put it there, sir.
Yeah.
So yes, we both have a Zoom PodTrack P4. We'll be putting it through its paces. As a matter of fact, we'll probably do a podcast using just these, maybe a live chat, you think?
I think it would be good. I was actually thinking about that, and full disclosure, I was waiting for it to come up. A certain birdie sent it to me, and I'll give credit where credit's due on that. And it showed up, and I was looking at it, I'm like, I really should try to do a show with this. So I'm really curious because it's so small and I love how small it is. You know,
the
I
whole
like
box almost fits in your hand,
right?
Sort of thing.
Right. And that would be so cool to be able to have, like, even run one of these shows, like these episodes, Better Podcasting Live Chat, and say we were able to do one of these shows through the P4, because it would show the potential versatility while also how simple it is. But the thing is, though, I don't know. It could be a disaster. We haven't tried it yet.
No, and we don't know what it'll do to the audio quality and stuff like that, because it's limited on the bit rate and sample rate, which you can record on. And unfortunately, the Zoom H8 that I also have does not have the mix minus capability over USB, so we're not able to use that You could probably jury rig it to use, but I don't want to do that. I want to make it easy for users to do, especially at that price point. There's no reason to jury rig it because you could easily do what you're going to jury rig with a Zoom L8, L12, or a Rodecaster Pro. So there's no reason to jury rig a Zoom H8 unless that's the only gear you have, in which case you're learning how to jury rig it until you get better gear. So this will definitely be a good thing to do. And I'm going to get some of these videos done over the next couple of weeks. I'll have some time on the weekend. I have not had time since I got the Zoom H8 and I went on my vacation up to Wisconsin to the family lake home. I have not had time to do videos because when I got home, I then had to rush to power wash and stain my yard fence. And that had to get done before the rain came and the temperatures dropped and that sort of thing. So I was working against the clock. So I got all that done and now I can concentrate on some videos. So Zoom H8 and the PodTrack P4. Matter of fact, I might have a new video location set up. So we'll talk about that in my video creation for YouTube. It will not be from this chair.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Why? So Banks in the chat.
No, go ahead.
Go, no,
I was going to ask you. You can't tease us with that. What's your plans with that?
Well, I bought a bunch of stuff like coverings and backdrops and stuff like that. And I plan to do it from the kitchen. Now, the problem of doing it from the kitchen is the echo is just horrendous. It's horrendous there. So I'm just going to have to learn to live with it and maybe do some deverb on the microphones. But I can't do the same sort of lighted shots. And I definitely can't do an unboxing or anything with a table in front of me in the studio. It's just way too small. So I will have to go out there. The other thing that I want before I do that would be a 4K mirrorless camera. Like I've been talking about the Sony. I don't know if I talked about this on this show or not, but I want the Sony A6400 and that would make my life a lot easier.
I would just suggest that you don't need that. And instead you should have a large television on a cart that you can just wheel around your house. I'm sure it won't bug your wife at all. And it can be your monitor. Then you don't need to worry about the screen that I know that you want on that camera.
Funny story about that. My daughter has found the way she's studying for some of her nursing classes. She is doing whiteboard studying. And that's how she's writing everything down on a piece of paper. But when she's studying, she wants to write it all out on a whiteboard and then erase it later. But she discovered that the whiteboards that we have around are too small, 3 foot by 2 foot, that sort of thing. So I went out and bought a 4 foot by 3 foot one, and it came and it's sitting in my hallway right now, taking up the hallway because it's 4 feet by 3 feet, which you think for a whiteboard isn't that big, but it's that big. So I got to get that down to her. I don't know. I might run that down Friday night or something like that. So anyway, yeah, the TV on a cart that's basically, the same as this 4 foot by 3 foot whiteboard. And no, I don't have space for it in my house. So Banks in the chat asks, did we purchase the PodTracks from Best Buy? No, but I have a Best Buy story later. I purchased these from the Sweetwater, and Sweetwater sent them out. I did have to wait for them. I'll just let the cat out of the bag. I was the one who purchased the P4s, both of them, both what Steven has in mind, because I wanted us to be able to use it back and forth like we want to. And the ZDM1 podcast pack, that also was purchased in the same order. So that is where they're from, Sweetwater. Now I've heard that Sweetwater is now out of stock again. So they only get so much stock and they send it out. So I apparently ordered early enough so that they could send it out to me. And I know other people were a little frustrated that they didn't get it in this batch, but I hope you get yours soon.
They just looked at the name and they go, "Oh, Stargate Pioneer. We better send it to him."
A funny story. I could have called Sweetwater at any point in time and said, look, I'm a podcaster about podcasting. I would like all the gear that you get first, but I don't. And the reason I don't is I really don't want any special treatment from either Sweetwater or Zoom. I want gear that's off the shelf, just like everybody else. And that is a production run and not a what do you want to call it? Demo run or something like that, a prototype.
Right.
And I want the production run, and that is what everybody else is going to get. So because of that, I have never told Sweetwater that I'm a podcaster about podcasting. I've never contacted Zoom. I have never contacted Zoom and said, give me any stuff for review, and or any other
I have.
place. I know you have, but I if we're going to buy gear, I don't want it to be that way.
Yeah, no, I've kind of grappled a little bit with that myself as well. And I think that's a good point. We've talked about it before. If you're getting stuff for reviews, there's disclosures you need to give. I think some people will automatically assume that you're biased because of that. It is a hard line to walk. It's a fine line to walk, because you need to be honest. That's a critical thing. Whether you're centered or not, you need to be honest. But then it's like when you're ready to deliver that review, you also need to be aware that you're probably going to make mad somebody if you're dogging all over something. And I've had to dog over things before, and I'm sure I will dog on things again that I'm sent. And it is what it is, right? Like, for me, I'll call a spade, and it is what it is. And if people want to get mad at me, they can get mad at me all they want. And like, if say somebody did send me something for review and it was a pre-production model and they're like, oh, well, that was fixed, I'd be like, sucks to be you. Should have sent me the real thing. If that's what you're going to send out, that's your problem, not mine. And as such, my review stands. That would be the take that I would have. And I would never excuse it because that's what they decided to send out. So, I think that it's hard for some people to do that. And I've seen in recent certain things, people give a pass because it was apparently a pre-production model. And I don't think that that's fair to give certain things a pass because the unit you were given was supposed to be a representation. And I think that you're giving in to that whole feel of, well, I guess I should, be respectful of the fact that they sent this to me. If you do cave to that because they gave you something for you to review, and that's what you should be reviewing. So anyways, that's just a little tangent of mine.
Just to complete the tangent, because of that, I was able to say that Zoom H8 on this, I think on this show, definitely on the other show, but the Zoom H8 is not, I would not recommend it for podcasters because of the lack of the mix minus recording, which is very unfortunate because other than that, it's a very capable machine. But I just know that the way that people that listen to the show podcast, and that would not work for most people.
And since you let the cat out of the bag, thank you very much for sending that.
Yeah, you bet. We didn't know it was going to be here tonight.
No.
So that was cool. It was supposed to come tomorrow, but it came today. So awesome that you have it. And then, yes, it won't be the next show because I know I would want to do a video on it. I don't know. One of us will do a video on it anyway, on the unboxing and put it on the Gonna Geek Gear channel.
The only video I'll do is licking it. Does that work for you?
If you send me scenes of that, I will include that in my video.
All right, you actually had something that was, you dropped on me and I go, yeah, let's talk about this. And there's quite a bit to it. So let's turn it over to you and make sure you got time for that. Go ahead.
Okay, so over on the Cast Junkie Discord server, I ran into this dude, Dandolf, who had put together a family-friendly podcast awards, and the nominations are going online from October 1st to October 31st. It's actually live. If you go to podicongo.com/awards, it's there. Now, this is a family-friendly podcasting network, and they want to award family-friendly podcasts. So I would assume that better podcasting would be family-friendly. I know Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. pretty much family-friendly, but if you have a family-friendly show and it's independent and you might not be getting the exposure, basically, you might want to go for these awards. And I would wholeheartedly, I know this is an independent thing, and I would wholeheartedly recommend this. So once again, you can go to the nomination page. It's live at PodIcongo, so PodIcongo.com/awards, and you can go ahead and nominate your shows.
What do you think about this, SP?
I think it's great. I think family-friendly shows, because let's face it, there's a lot of edgier shows out there that might not be suitable for broad audiences because of topic or language, right? So this gives the shows out there that are specifically family friendly in terms of topic and language a place where they can excel.
I love this. I think that this is really cool. I'm sick and tired of certain big companies being the big pull in podcast awards and having a very specific mind of what they want to see in there, and not having a certain niche with their awards. And I'm tired of big companies coming in and acting like they're the first ones to be doing podcast awards, and I just tired of all of that stuff. And I like this. I think that it's a nice little indie project. But more importantly, I think it highlights a really important niche, which is exactly what you said, family-friendly podcasts. I think that I think podcasting has well outgrown explicit and non-explicit. Because I can run a non-explicit show that is not something that I want to be having for my kids. So I think that there is a need for highlighting shows like this. And I think that this is a great start. And I think that it gives those family-friendly shows a nice little place that they can present themselves amongst other family-friendly shows. And it creates a little bit of a catalog of good quality content, hopefully, assuming that the process works out as I'm sure is intended. So this is really cool. I was happy to see this. And I look forward to Stargate Pioneers children's book reading podcast getting nominated for an award.
When was it? I was like in 6th grade, I want to say, maybe 7th grade. And I went to a K through 8 school. And one of the projects that we had to do in 7th grade was create a child's book. So I created this child's book. And then I started, it was highly sought after. And I went to different classrooms to read it. And it was targeted for the real young kids, but I was asked to go even like the 4th grade and 5th grade class. And I know when I was reading it to the 5th grade class that they were like, dude, come on. But 4th graders seemed engaged. So like 4th graders and down were cool. So I have some history with story reading to young kids, and I would definitely enjoy a podcast like that in the future. The problem is I don't have any time.
Yeah, you do. You got lots of time.
So we're not doing the show anymore?
You gave up another podcast and another one before that. Come on.
Yeah, I'm still doing 3 though, buddy, which is one more than even I recommend. And the more I do this, the more I'm thinking maybe just one podcast a week is enough.
Fair enough. So for those of you who might be changing topics, those of you who might be watching the video side of things, you might be thinking, well, Steven seems a little bit weird tonight with the video switching. Something just doesn't seem right. I talked before about how I love my Stream Deck. I love my Stream Deck. I think it's a great product. I think that it's made a lot of different things with podcasting easier for me, and several things which are just audio-based easier for me. However, the latest Stream Deck update and or XSplit update, I don't know which one it is. It's a long story. If you look at their Discord server, I don't know which one it is, but it broke the integration, and there's something going on with the Stream Deck integration with XSplit, and XSplit's aware of it, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. For me, I didn't see it until the Stream Deck was updated, but I had previously updated XSplit, so it could be the two of them working together. My keys don't work right to select the scene, so I can play music right now. There is a bit of a weird workaround. I tried to fix it last night for Gonna Geek, but it just caused more problems than not. I did see today in their Discord server that you tried
to fix it live, and that's incredibly difficult to do for somebody that is solely producing, and you're not solely producing, you're also the lead host on the show.
I appreciate that disclaimer there, but yeah, I read on the Discord server of XSplit that they're working on an update to try soon, and my comment to them was, I think you'll have a lot of willing beta testers. So I just, little heads up if you use the Stream Deck and you use XSplit, but also just if you use the Stream Deck, because again, I did not see this until I did a Stream Deck update. So I don't know which is the culprit, but something about those two working together does not work right. But some people also are in there and they're like, I don't have any problems with this. So I just wanted to mention it, but also just as a great little point of conversation that sometimes things can come up. when you least expect it in one of your areas that are working well for you and solidly working well for you. So
SP's Missing Beard in the chat asked an intriguing question, which is, you can't roll back?
that was what I wasn't sure about. I didn't go looking for the previous versions to see if if they could be installed. I thought I would just, because this was so fresh and I could see that they were kind of working on it, I thought I would just wait and suffer through this week before I went and tried to roll things back. I also spent most of the free time that I had after identifying this, or after figuring out how bad this was, trying to uninstall and reinstall the software, just thinking that might fix it. So that is kind of the next step, but we'll see what happens.
Okay. So I also have had an issue inside the house, but it's not to do with podcasting. My Amazon personal assistant is not listening to me correctly.
Uh-oh.
So I have been unplugging and replugging in several things. I don't know if it's an Amazon wide thing or maybe it's my particular applications.
Has it been asking you to do it more than once? Like saying it doesn't? What's been going on?
It will just shut off.
Oh, okay.
It will say it's not recognizing the request, or like I'll be in the kitchen and I will be telling it to do something in the kitchen, and like the bedroom one comes on.
We'll report back on this because somebody that I know just was telling me they were having an issue with it responding. I haven't seen it myself, but this could be a bigger thing, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. So not Stream Deck, but my tech problems. And also there's the whole Best Buy story, which we might get to later as well.
All right. So in our Discord server, we had a question come up, and Erasure said, you guys ever found an interesting use case for old iPhones beside hand-me-downs to kids? But in those cases, I assume they are still primarily being used as a smartphone. SP, have you ever found any use cases for old phones?
Seems as though I have 3 kids and end up with a lot of old iPhones. Yeah. So first of all, I will say that I've used my old iPhone 4s and 4Ss as soundboards before. I actually had one for each individual show that I did, which was pretty cool. There was a total of 5 of them, and I just rotated them through. And that was before Boss Jock Studio had scenes. Now Backpack Studio had scenes to do, and I could deal with more sounds on each scene. So that's just one application. There's a ton of other applications that I mentioned. You could use them for remote controls. Say you have like a Harmony remote hub on your entertainment system. So you could use one as a de facto remote. You can use them to show you the security or surveillance systems that you might have installed in the house. It's just a little extra screen to do that. I've got one in my workout room. Actually, it's not a phone, but it's an old iPad, like the original iPad 2, not the later iPad 2, but the original iPad 2. It's not good for anything. It's got a 30-pin connector on it. I was going to trash it, but surprisingly enough, my surveillance app actually is on it. So it works. And so I put it in my workout room. So I can tell when people are coming and going, or a package is left on the door when I'm on the treadmill, something like that. There's a ton of stuff that you can use old smartphones for. It doesn't necessarily have to be an iPhone. I have iPhones in my house, but yeah, there's a ton of stuff that you can use them for. And I'm interested to hear what our audience has to say about it.
Another thing that I tossed out in the server, I had said that depending on the quality, you could possibly use it as a network-based webcam. Like there's an NDI app and an OBS camera, OBS Ninja too, if you're doing that. But Yakko.org had said, I played with the NDI camera app for that, and the lag was too high for my tastes. What I do like to use them for is secondary cameras for offline recording, so I have other shots. And then in our chat over at Geeks.live, because we do stream this live on Tuesdays at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, we had Bangs Naughty Bits say OBS camera app, as well as suggesting Stream Deck on iOS.
One thing that I've used it for non-podcasting related is a workout tracking app. So if I'm out running and I want a secondary app running, because I never trust the GPS on the different devices that I have. So normally I have at least 2 writing apps going. Besides, I never know when one's going to quit for whatever reason. So I just have a backup. So I use a couple of apps, one of which is Runkeeper. So I always have an older iPhone that is tracking my run on Runkeeper. Always do that.
One of my favorite things to do, and I know SP, you've done this a few times, is you could use it as like a virtual photo frame, specifically my photo on your nightstand. So if you want, you could do that.
Yeah, between you and Chris, it goes back and forth. It's pretty cool.
No, what I want to know what SP said, which is what use cases do you have? I have even used an old phone as a remote to control my home computer.
Oh, yes.
Before I had a Stream Deck while I was on the road. So I had an app that I was able to, I put a bunch of technology together. So basically I had a scene switcher on my old phone when I was in a hotel room controlling my computer back home.
And if you can pair a Bluetooth keyboard with it, then it becomes a whole bunch of more functional for stuff like that. I mean, the screen will be small, but it becomes more functional.
Also in our Discord server, we had Damien the DM ask a question about the ZDM1.
Also known as the ZDM1 here in America.
Yeah, that's true. It is known as that in America. What was Damien's question there, Stargate Pioneer?
Damien wrote in our Discord at Stargate Pioneer, do you have an Encore 100? Just for selfish purposes of comparison, but what I want to know about the ZDM1 is how its off-axis rejection is, how's the sound, how does it compare to other highly recommended mics in the around $100 range, like the Pod mic and the ATR 2100. For the headphones, would they be a decent thing to keep around for a show that currently has everyone monitoring on their own personal headphones with a mix of gaming headsets, earbuds, and noise canceling over-the-ear headphones? So what Damien is referring to is the question that we asked on the main Better Podcasting show last episode, which is, what are your questions for the PodTrack P4 and the ZDM1 and the podcast pack, which includes the headphones over there? So just to let Damien know that indeed, I still have my Blue Encore 100. Matter of fact, it is one of the backup microphones that is currently on the podcasting desk. And for the video watcher, you will see that Steven actually has he took it off of it's behind him on his shelf, and he took it off the shelf and he put it on his secondary mic stand.
I love the Encore 100. If I was still using a handheld microphone to record in my setup, I would probably still be using that. I just like the sound. Don't hold it, first off. Very bad for handling noise. But in the scenario I was using before, where I had it on a arm and things like that, I love it. I think that it's a great sounding mic.
Yeah, so I do have it. And then Steven actually posted the picture of me as I was doing a comparison between the Knox podcasting microphone. I think that's what it was called. The ATR 2100, the original, not the ATR 2100X. I actually don't have an ATR 2100X yet. And the AT 2005. I did that on this desk. I had the 3 mics in front of me, and that is what I was talking about earlier in the show, that I was going to go out in the kitchen and I was going to do that. Matter of fact, it'll be great for a reverb comparison. Like, how are these in a really dirty audio medium, not in a sound treated room? So that'll be a good road test for those microphones, I believe. But I'll be able, with the Zoom H8, and this will probably be like the one podcasting use that I get out of it, I will be able to record up to 8 different channels at the same time, because I can use the capsule. There's 6 on board. And then I have the EXH6 capsule, which will have 2 more to it. I don't have the one with 4 that would interface with the H8. But yes, I will have up to 8 microphones that I can record simultaneously right in front of me.
In our chat, by the way, not really related, but this prompted Bangs Naughty Bits to say that there's, I'm going to call it the new Knox. Apparently there is a T-Bone ATR 2100 knockoff. So I don't know, haven't tried that yet, but Hey, let's call it the new Knox. Should we do that?
Yeah, I'll do some pod search on the fly. Research while we're recording. We'll call it pod search
I like that.
on the
That's
fly.
good. That's good.
Yeah, pod search on the fly. Yeah. So I am looking up I guess it's an MB88, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know, but we'll find out. We'll try to look into that, but maybe you know what? I'm seeing MB88. I'm seeing that some old ones, some old videos. So I don't know.
I don't, yeah.
Well, anywho, there might be. Oh, Bang says it's only in Europe.
Well, that would explain the pound side next to the price. But yeah, it does look like a USB XLR microphone. Yep, it's heck. It looks like a silver pod mic or AT2005, a silver AT2005.
Interesting. We also have, by the way, in our chat, yakko.org say, this week I didn't realize that my USB HDMI adapter had taken over as my default audio input device in Windows, and my entire first episode we recorded Sunday was blank in Audition. Thankfully, I had my H6 backup, but it reminded me to always check the recording before I get started. Happens way too much with damn Windows.
Yeah, again, having that dedicated recording machine has saved so many people, including ourselves, so many times. So I cannot, especially with the price. We'll have to, like I said, use it probably in about a month. But with the price point of this at like $200, why would you? Yeah, as long as it does a halfway decent job, why would you not?
You know what? And maybe there'll be a sale on it eventually as well, because it's always nice to have like even better deals on equipment that's already reasonably priced.
I like where your head's at. Yeah.
You know what else is a deal right now? Apparently, Hover is selling on sale for 60% off the .inc. So .inc incorporated domains.
So not .ink.
No,
which you would, a tattoo artist would like that.
Exactly. Today, I got a notification from Hover in follow-up to our last couple episodes that we've had on this show and the Better Podcasting main show about domains and stuff. There was a sale today on the .inc domain name, and it was 60% off. So instead of $2,499 a year, you could register it for $999 per year.
Is that Canadian? Because if that's Canadian, that's like $25 American.
No, I believe Hover charges in American prices, if I remember correctly, even though they're a Canadian company.
Yeah, but wouldn't they show you Canadian prices in Canada?
They don't, for some reason. I don't know why they don't do that. There's so many other places that do, but they don't. So,
okay.
So, yeah, if you want, get your indiepodcast.inc domain name registered.
All right. Yeah.
It's on sale.
Yeah. No, thanks. I'm not going to spend that much on a domain. Sorry. Matter of fact, as many domains that I have, if I spent $2,000 on each domain, that would bankrupt me pretty fast.
All right. Can I confess here? Because I think we're in October. This is towards the end of October. Can you believe that? And
yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm looking at a calendar right here. Yep. The next time we podcast on this show, it'll be November.
Right. So I have a confession that I think that I want to just get off my chest right now. We've talked about how it's always a good idea at the end of the year to recharge your batteries. We think that the trade-off of taking some time off during the holiday season is worth it. We've made our case many times how for a hobby podcaster, we think that it's beneficial. There's lots of people out there and consultants out there that try to say, no, you should keep podcasting always, keep regular and make sure that you release because there's lots of people getting new devices over the holiday season. And SP and I here are both big believers that Christmas is a busy time. Holiday season is a very busy time as it is for a lot of people. So don't make it even worse by trying to force in your hobby that you do for fun. And we say it's a good time to really decompress and recharge and come into the new year with a new look on podcasting. I want to confess right now, and I think it's with everything going on in the year of 2020, I am feeling my end of year burnout a lot sooner than in other years. I usually don't start to feel this until about November, but like I'm already starting to feel it in October, and it's like I'm looking forward to that break and kind of we do this show pretty good because we like to make sure that we've got episodes loaded over the holiday season. I'm looking at Gonna Geek and I'm thinking like maybe it needs to be a longer break this year. I don't know. It's just I think there's probably other people who are feeling the same way like me. We've talked about it before, how there has been a lot of people feeling exhausted with everything going on in 2020. And so I just wanted to confess it right now and say that if you are feeling that right now, you're not alone because I'm feeling it right now.
Well, first of all, you built a whole shed this year.
That's okay.
I mean, you built a shed.
Oh,
A shed.
I didn't go anywhere though. Like, okay, that is something, but like, I didn't go anywhere, so like, that's traveling.
No,
Okay, traveling is exhausting, whether you're going for fun or not. So I didn't do any of that. So to me, it's like a trade off. But I appreciate that you're trying to make me an excuse.
I was feeling pretty burned out earlier as well. I mean, we've actually talked about it on the show. We talked about how we've changed the format of Better Podcasting to do a regular Better Podcasting episode to keep that show going. And then the Better Podcasting Live was going to be on the off weeks to give us more time to do other content creation. That was our 2020. That's what we were going to do this year to change up Better Podcasting. And while we've been able to do a little bit of that, a little bit, and I stress a little bit, it's not anywhere near the amount that we wanted to do. And it's because we've all been busy with certain things, which is very ironic because you would think that we would have more time, but we don't. We have less time in 2020 than we did in 2019. And I was feeling burnt out. Matter of fact, we were talking about this, I believe it was about 2 months ago. So we were talking about this and I dropped this on you barely a week before it happened. Right. And I said, there's a window for me to go see my family and go to the lake, but I'm going to be there for 2 weeks and I'm not going to podcast. And that was a last minute bomb that I dropped on you. And part of the reason that we talked back and forth about it was because I was feeling a little burned out and I wanted to go somewhere, recharge my batteries. I wanted to see my family. It was going to be the one time in 2020 that I was going to be able to see my family because I was going to be there long enough so I could self-quarantine, and they could feel comfortable around me. Matter of fact, if I didn't do that, I don't think I would have seen my sister for this entire year, which is very bad because she's mentally handicapped. And while she understands COVID, she doesn't really understand COVID. So I was burned out, and that was 2 months ago. So that was, I don't know, end of August. And so I went away for 2 weeks. I worked my butt off for that 2 weeks. So it was good that I got away from podcasting, but it was bad in the sense that I didn't really relax. I just worked and worked and worked and worked because I had to. There was just so much to do there, and I wasn't able to go any other time during the year. So this was like 14, 15 days. And that was the only time that I was going to have to do some pretty major projects at the lake. So I got all that done and I came home and I had one more thing that I had to do before it got too cold because it just needed to be done. And that was the whole fence thing. I was burned out for that. So I'm burnt out. And then I go on this vacation for 2 weeks. I come back and I'm behind on my editing for Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And then I look at the weather window and go, I only have so much time to do this. So I took some more time off. And just today, when I was going to work, I was thinking, man, I could use a couple of days off, but I've already taken so much time away from work on the vacation and working on the fence that I just can't justify taking any more time off of work. So I am going to really enjoy the holiday season. That is the only other time that I'm taking off time this year. And I'll be able to just relax as much as anybody can relax. So burnout is real with me too. And I know you haven't had that 3 weeks off in the last month or so that I have had off.
I think that that's cute that you think that 2020 isn't just going to end on us. I have a feeling you're talking like we're going to get to the holiday season. I think that the whole earth is just going to come to an end. It's just the way it's going to be.
And you are completely justified in thinking that because y'all had that 7.4 Richter scale earthquake that was up in Alaska, but you're close enough. I haven't even asked you. Did you feel that?
No, I didn't feel it. So.
Did you guys have the tsunami warning on the west coast of the island?
Okay, so there was a tsunami warning that was issued, but then they retracted it. So it was falsely issued.
So there's that, and there's the fact that all this space junk. For those of you that are listeners to the Gonna Geek Show, there's all this space junk that's deorbiting that's headed towards you. Yeah. And I mean, I could totally see how you are at the point where you are, that 2020 is just, we're not going to get out of 2020.
Well, on that, it's wonderful, uplifting note. I guess it's time to end this week's Better Podcasting live chat. I do want to give a special shout out, though, to another side of our Discord server. In our chat right now at Geeks That Live, we have the fantastic Chris Farrell. He is our co-host over on the official Gonna Geek Show. And the last little bit, he's been putting together, and I'll say organizing, plays of a game called Among Us. I'm not that familiar, but apparently that's the thing that those young whippersnappers are playing right now, is Among Us. And he's been organizing this last week and this week. And so if you are feeling a little bit like you'd like to get involved with some community fun and some online community fun, please come to the Discord server and hang out and message Chris Farrell about that, because he'll tell you all about that, assuming that he's still doing that. But I just wanted to mention that as well, because that's a separate Gonna Geek endeavor. But I don't know, we're a lot more relaxed on this show. We have a lot less structure, and I thought I'll throw it in here. Why not?
Yeah, why not? And the last thing that I'll leave everybody with, because I talked about it last night on the GeekGeek.com show, but it is minorly podcast related because it deals with the purchasing of stuff. And as the holiday season does approach us, I don't know if we'll get there or not, as Stephen mentioned before, but the holiday season is approaching. And if you're planning on making any electronic purchases, and you might be doing it from Best Buy or any other place, the stock of things is going to start running out just because of the supply chain and the manufacturing chain. I mean, before the show, we were talking about the new PlayStation 5s and the new Xbox that's coming out this fall, and that everybody wants one, but there's limited amount that is there. The NVIDIA graphics cards, the 3000 series NVIDIA graphics cards, also ran into a similar situation where they debuted and there just wasn't enough for everybody out there. So if you really want something either for yourself, for a fellow podcaster, or a family member who's a podcasting, and you really want it for the holidays as a gift, try to purchase it early this year. I know as we're recording this, it is October 20th, and I would say you're about 20 days too late in order to assure that you're going to get something for the holidays. So just keep that in mind, and maybe a gift card to the person might be more appropriate, depending on what they want, and if they want to actually start playing it around when you're supposed to give it to them, or using it, playing it, whatever. So just keep that in the back of your mind. I've seen a lot of news stories about this. I ran into an issue with Best Buy in this past week, actually Amazon too, in this past week, about another device that we had to buy. It was electronic in the house. And I just want to leave everybody with that thought. I know we're a little bit farther away from the holidays than we usually are when we talk about this and Black Friday and stuff like that, but it started early this year. If you really want something for the holidays, you got to start thinking about getting it now versus waiting.
Very good point. But that is going to do it for another episode of Better Podcasting Live Chat. So for episode 19 of Better Podcasting Live Chat, I'm Stephen John Drew saying, hey, if I get too burnt out, I'll just cast the role of Stephen John Drew. Maybe Johnny Pennington will play it.
Now MSP saying, Stephen, I hope you fix your Stream Deck.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for checking out another episode of Better Podcasting. You can find the full back catalog of Better Podcasting at betterpodcasting.com. If you're into geeky podcasts, please check out the other podcasts on the Gonna Geek Network at GonnaGeekNetwork.com. This show was produced and edited by Stephen John Drew of Gonna Geek Productions. Voice work was done by L.W. Salinas. Thanks again for listening or watching. And we hope to see you again next week.
I know it was a bit shorter of a show this week, live audience. Sorry about that. There was less that we had to talk about, but I'm glad that we ended up being that way anyways, because I woke up this morning, my allergies were killing me. As I sat down here, it's getting worse again. I don't know that I could have done much more. So, yes. Sorry it was shorter, but I'm actually glad it was.
Allergies started hitting here just a few days ago for a lot of people. I've mitigated it by exercising this year, but I can still tell it's there. And let me tell you, because I have to go into work, and if I'm feeling sick at all, I'm supposed to tell everybody, and everybody's feeling the allergies, but it's so close to feeling tired and sore all over, and you got the nose running, and it's just like, the differentiating factor is the thermometer, the temperature. But it's running rampant, so it's just a bad time of year. It really is a bad time of year, this year especially.
I was gonna type in the chat. Chris said, "Sorry, you have a busted Stream Deck." It's just the one integration. Everything else works. So I don't know if you caught that, Chris, but I talked briefly earlier about that. My issue happened during an update. And I wonder if I had two issues because...
Well, I know there's one issue.
Yeah, so...
It's user-oriented.
Yeah, of course, right? So, the thing is, it happened when I updated, and now I can't assign the XSplit scenes. But the thing is, when I did the update, I lost a bunch of the images, too, on the keys, so I can't help but think that that first thing where I lost all the images is separate from the second thing. So last I saw XSplit they said that they're about to try something to fix it. I don't know. There was a couple major changes. I suspect what it is recent XSplit change coupled with the recent Stream Deck change. Something's not working right there because I didn't update my XSplit. Like I was working with the version of XSplit that's the newest, but some people are saying the newest version caused it. So that's why I kind of think like it was the perfect storm, but I don't know. Anywho, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, hopefully it's working better next week.
Oh, Chris left. All right. Well, thanks everybody, and have yourself a wonderful evening. And we will hopefully see you on the next live streamed show, which is I almost said Starling Tribune. I almost said Starling Tribune.
I could do a Starling Tribune tomorrow about the failed CWDC universe.
Steve Boyd was asking if you guys still did that, by the way, when I met up with him, because he was wondering because he basically was out this way to do a big long Smallville sort of tour, right? And
like he used to do for Walking Dead, yeah.
Yeah, and he ended up going to where they're filming the new Superman and Lois, which is apparently right where they did a lot of where they did Smallville. And he ran into somebody who had all sorts of information on the filming and locations and information on it.
Oh, and did he want to talk about it on his show?
He'd said that, hey, if they're still doing it, I got a contact for them. So that sort of thing.
No, if he wanted to come on and tell everybody what he knew, I would do a special episode. But nope, I'm not interested in.
You don't want to bring it back.
No, I do not. That whole universe. Here's the thing for those of you that are left, and we talked about it before in the show, but I'm going to really hammer into it now. When you podcast on something for 8 years and the topic degrades in quality significantly along the way, and you are stupid enough to stick with it, you get really jaded on what's going on, and that happened to me. Honestly, I got jaded.
I will say that if you podcast on something long enough, you become jaded on it.
That might be true. You would think that podcasting about podcasting, that we would have become jaded or start to become jaded.
I think
by now.
We're both completely more jaded than we were when we started, and I'm being serious. I think, and this would be a good topic
in certain areas, but
that's what I mean. I think there's certain areas that we look at now, and I think that we see things a lot more negative than when we started.
true, but the excitement about podcasting for me
Yeah.
is still there.
Me
I don't
too.
know if it
Me
is for
too.
you. I won't
It
speak
is.
for you.
No, it
okay.
is.
So
It is.
so the excitement about podcasting is still there. Unfortunately, you peel back the curtain on certain things, and you're absolutely right. You see the reality, and you see this dark, dingy alleys, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, this is not the rosy thing that I thought it was." But I think it's rosy enough for the audience that it's okay.
Agreed.
The amount, okay, SP's Missing Baird. The amount of mismanagement of the
Mhm.
DC cinematic and television universe borders on criminal. Just as criminal, in my opinion, and I'm going to say it right here, in my opinion, as Kathleen Kennedy with the Star Wars. I think that has been mismanaged as well. In my opinion.
I want to say that Kathleen Kennedy's Star Wars is far worse, even though I won't argue with that statement about it being criminal. I think that it's less criminal. Because I look at Star Wars, right? And when you look at, okay, Arrow never should have been the success it was in season 2 and the spin-off to the Flash that was started out good. It never should. It was on the CW, which at the time of launch was Teen Dramaville. It never, ever, ever should have worked in its location. So the bar was set low to begin with.
So to put this in context, it's not an award-winning Disney Plus or Netflix show.
Right.
That's your context.
Exactly.
It's not at that level. Okay.
Exactly. And so I think where it devolved to was where the expectations were at the beginning, right? That's the Arrowverse. Star Wars was like, here you go. Here's a star property. And then you tanked it.
Worth $4 billion.
Right.
You spent 4 Bs to get it.
Exactly.
And then you drove it into the ground. You blew up the planet with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The movies, though, okay. That's talking television side of things. The movies, though, yeah. I would probably put the movies at the same level of cluster that Star Wars is at.
So I know Banks is making some comments too, but SP's Missing Beard said, but that proves how popular DC content is and how they squandered it. I will say that this actually proves how much they squandered it, because for the first time ever, Spider-Man, and this happened, I want to say this was 3 years ago, but it could have been 5 years ago, but the first time ever, Spider-Man was outpacing Batman as the biggest property worldwide in terms of money. And that, I think DC has squandered everything. And this was before, I believe this was before the Tom Holland movies started coming out. Maybe it was after. I don't remember exactly, but that just puts it in context that they had this primo property in Batman.
Yep.
And it's still not, chump change, but it's no longer number one.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming on by. We're going to disconnect. Have yourself a wonderful rest of your evening, and P4 buddies.
We're more than just P4 buddies, though.
I didn't know if you wanted me to mention it or not.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I'll mention it. I was going to mention it after, but I'll mention it.
Well, this is after.
We are also ZDM1 buddies.
He said Z. See, he said Z. I got it recorded, so I'm good. Oh my gosh, that box took a beating.
Right? That's why I was going to mention it afterwards, but yeah, it totally did.
Oh,
yeah.
Man.
I'm
the
sure
box was
fine.
not like it
I'm
when
sure
I sent it.
fine.
Oh. Was the outer box?
No, it was
bashed
fine.
in?
No. So,
jeez.
Well,
Okay.
actually, I didn't take a good look. I got to go look, but I didn't open it yet.
All right.
Maybe I should open
Well,
it.
your headphones are probably broken there.
Take a little sneak preview, and then if I do an unboxing video, I'll have to pretend I didn't do it. Oh yeah, it's fine. It's actually on the corner of the headphones, so
The headphones broken?
I think they'll be fine because there's a good foam block there.
All right.
I'm not gonna pull it away too much just in case I have to do an unboxing.
I'm not looking forward to reviewing those headphones though. That's oof.
I hope that they're a pleasant surprise, but
I hope so too. But after using these SRH 840s,
Yeah.
I'm not looking forward to going back on anything. Anyway, so there you have it. We both have the ZDM1.
yes,
or
the
ZDM1
ZDM1, the ZDM1,
and the PodTrack P4s. Yeah. No, and in case you're wondering, there is no P8 on order.
No. I don't know. I can't figure out whether the P8 has a good place or not. I can't. So I don't see it. I don't think they did enough to give it a good space.
Yeah, in relation to the Rodecaster Pro and the
Exactly, like
L8, L12. Yeah.
Yeah, like the P4 gets its own place for that alone, right? Like size alone, right? Like that's an excellent use case. But